Okay, hello everyone. I hope you guys can hear me. Let me know down in the chat if you can hear me, but we're gonna get started. Welcome to the second mini paint challenge. Today we are going to be painting a sugar cookie, and it's really cute. If you've seen the pictures already on my Instagram, it's like a pastel type color cookie, so they look really cute. And just to get a few things out of the way so you know what this is. So I just started the mini paint challenge last week. And what we're going to do is we're going to paint on like really small pieces of paper. So it's just easier to do smaller paintings in like short amounts of time. So I figured it would be nice to kind of like do little tidbits of painting, and then it feels less overwhelming when you have, smaller things to work on. So these are kind of like the rules right beside me of the mini paint challenge, and I guess not rules, but like how you can join in. And you can tag me on social media with the hashtag mini paint challenge, and then also tag me at Megan Josol Art, and I will show your art some love. But let's get started. We'll get right into it. I've got a little paint mixing scene here. I've tried to set up these scenes so it's like really easy to see. So I've just cut up an old piece of towel. That's what I like to use for like my rag to like wipe my brushes off on and like wipe my palette knife on. And so this is the reference photo here. I have a little arrow. I'm going to try to use the arrow more this time. I keep forgetting to do it. My husband's the one who suggested it, but I've got this little arrow that I can show you what color we're mixing and like which area it is in. So I'm going to use this more today. That's the goal. So let's start out. We're going to I'm going to explain, I think, the pink colors first, because they can be a little bit tricky sometimes. So I'm going to bring out the magenta, the alizarin crimson, and I've got this violet color. And in order to mix that type of pink, you need to kind of like understand how these different pinks react when you add white. So I'm just going to put all of these down on my palette and show you guys how they all react with white, and then we can decide which red or pink to use based on the reference photo. Now, you don't have to do the pink background if you don't want to. I've been doing a lot of these ones with just a white background, so you could do just like a basic shadow on it. You could also just paint the cookie if you'd like. So maybe I should leave these out so you guys can see which ones I'm using in the order. So we've got the alizarin crimson in the middle here, and then the magenta, and this one's more of like a violet. And I like to use titanium white as my white. Sometimes I also use like flake white replacement as well. Normally that one is like a more toxic pigment, but you can get the replacement ones that are very similar to the other ones. And I find this one like a little bit thicker, and this one has a bit more thinness to it, so it's easier to spread. And put the white there. Okay, we'll play around with the pink first. So I'll put that off to the side. We'll take a little bit of the magenta first, and I'll put that on here. And now we're just going to add like a little bit of white. Now you don't want to add too much white because it lightens it up quite a bit. Look at that. A little bit of white. And they're pastel colors, so we do want them to be quite light. Now, as you can see, as I'm mixing this down, it gives kind of like a almost like purpley pink color. Now, that is not going to be very close. So we want to maybe put a little bit to the side and add quite a bit more white just to see what it looks like toned down a bit. We're decreasing the value and bringing it kind of into the foreground because it's really bright on the top of the cookie. And this one is like closer to like the color of the background pink. So I'm the background kind of pink here. The colors might be slightly off on the screen too, so just keep that in mind when I'm mixing the colors, because I mean the cameras probably aren't going to be streaming in super high quality. Like I'm recording them in 1080p, but I know that the colors are just not going to be as nice and bright as they would be in person. Okay, this one's looking pretty good. Yeah, it definitely is more like the background color. You can even lighten this up a little bit. So we're making kind of transition colors with this pink. Okay, let's see how close that is to the lighter parts of the background. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Getting there with that. That's what that color looks like. It looks definitely more purple on the screen, but it is in fact matching that color. I've got the reference photo up in front of me here too. I'm almost thinking I should make like blog posts with these maybe beforehand, so then you guys can like download the images so you can have them up bigger on your screen if you'd like while you're painting along. I'll maybe even just like make a little document on my website where you can like download the files. I'll see if my husband can maybe set that up on my website for me so it's a little bit easier for you guys to see the reference photos. It's nice to have them like blown up and a lot bigger. Definitely more pink on the reference. Yeah, exactly. It like looks more purpley, but like it's actually very close on my end. That's the hard thing with video. It's not going to be exactly accurate just because of the way it looks. Okay, so we're going to try the alizarin crimson now, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when we add white to it. We're going to really tone this color down quite a bit. As you can tell, like you can kind of see the difference here. This one's definitely more pinky, right? This one has like a purpley hint to it. They're both really beautiful though, and that's the nice thing about painting. I've said this before, but you don't have to match colors exactly unless you're going for like super close to the original because there's like a meaning behind the color or something. I try to match it like pretty close, but I don't mind. So this one's closer to like the color on the cookie. So like the background has more of like purpley hues to it. So it has like just a little bit of blue in it, which is going to make that more purpley color. And this one's kind of, I don't know, I would say like pinky, like a pig's nose. I'm gonna add more white to this to create a bit more transition too for the colors. And so on the cookie, I'll use this Aereo, but like around the edges of the cookie, kind of where the icing and the cookie meet in this area, or like over here, you can kind of see it with the blue section. That is going to be a little bit darker to kind of create almost like a little bit of a shadow on the edges, and that's going to make it kind of pop out of the cookie more. So that's why we're creating all of these transition colors with just like the one kind of base color. You want to create these transitions to add a bit of dimension to your painting. At some point, maybe I should do like a basic painting of just like a round object, because you can really get that, you know, the sphere shape is a really good one to practice if you want to like bring a little bit more dimension into your paintings, because you can start to kind of use the idea of the sphere with all of your other aspects of objects. And I find, yeah, the sphere is definitely a good starting place if you want to add dimension. But that's kind of what we're doing, is we're adding kind of like a curve or an angle, and those values are a lot darker kind of on the edge there. And yeah, we're getting a nice bright pink with that one. So this will kind of be like the edge color, and then we'll move into like the lighter color when it goes in. And then right here, I'm gonna take enough of this pink off so then we don't mix the colors too much. So we've got that color, and then we've got the violet color. Now this is gonna be, I love using this one, it's really pretty. Of course, we've used all of our white. It's a really nice, pretty purple. Look at that. More purpley than that one, right? But it's just so pretty. I love the look of this one. Now we might even be able to add a bit more blue into that if we want to turn this kind of into the purple on the cookie. It would actually work really well, I think, for the shadows of the background. You can kind of like fade it from these colors, and then it has more colors than the last challenge, right? Yes, exactly. So this one's a little bit more challenging because I added a few extra colors, but it's nice to have a bit of a challenge. We're working kind of, I'm going to move the arrow. We're going to work on kind of the shadow area here, and I want it to be pretty purpley, not that deep though, or not that light. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the violet in there just to make it a little darker. And then it'll slowly fade out, like I said, into these colors. And we'll organize them on the palette so they all kind of make sense. Sometimes I like to mix the colors first, and then I'll like put them on the edges really nicely, kind of so I remember where I wanted certain colors. So this one's nice and deep. This is going to be kind of the edges of the shadow. Yeah, I think we could even darken that up a bit. I think if we add a little bit of blue to it, it'll make it kind of like a darker purple. So we've got ultramarine blue. I love this one for darkening up a purple. I was saying in my last painting, instead of black, I really love using purple. And if you can add like darker colors versus just adding black all the time, you'll have less muddy paintings. And that's what I try to do, is I just like to use bright colors because I like my colors to be super bright and pigmented on mine. So that's just like a little trick if you are going for more of the bright saturated colors. There we go. See? There we go. Making it super pretty. Oh, that is a really gorgeous purple. That's the kind of purple I was going for. So this is going to be the shadow color. So that's going to be the edge. I am going to make one that's like slightly darker too for the darkest parts of the shadow. So I'm going to take a little bit of each of those. I'm going to mix it together. I think I made it a little too blue there, so we'll have to add a little bit of this one again. There we go. And that's the thing, is when you understand like the lights and darks in an object, you can also just change up colors however you like, because the value is really what matters when it comes to dimension in making things like more realistic. So you can just play around with similar valued colors and just add them on. There we go. That's a really nice purple. Background's turning into like a pinky purple. Yeah, the value is pretty similar. I would say I even kind of went a little too blue with this, so I might add a bit more of the violet color. I'm gonna have to make a second painting with all of these colors because I really like these. These are really pretty. Maybe I should paint another cookie. We also made dino cookies as well. So I have a few dino ones that are pastel color. And they're just so cute. I love making sugar cookies. So our son, he's the one who suggested the pastel color palette, and I'm so happy he did because it's just so gorgeous. We also made ones with like a little bit of green and yellow in them as well. So we had like a pastel green, a pastel yellow, and then these colors as well, and they were really pretty. You can go on my Instagram. I posted some pictures of them on my stories. Okay, yeah, that's a really nice color for the... Okay, we're just gonna start lining up the colors here on the side, trying to mark this off. So I'm gonna put the darkest colors because you want to start with the darkest colors first, because when you start lightening things, oh, shaking the tripod. Okay, so this is the shadow of the background. And then we've got these colors, which is gonna be close to the shadow. We're gonna kind of have the transition between these. We've got this really nice transition color. And then we've got this a lot lighter color, and that's going to be most of the background, this color. And then we're going to go with these ones. These are the cookie colors. And I'll put that there. And then this is the lighter part of the cookie, the colors. And we'll put that one there. And now what I like to do when I'm mixing so the colors don't blend too much, they are blended on the cookie, but you don't want the pigments to kind of react with each other, because then if you're mixing on a dirty palette, you end up getting like less saturated colors, like I was saying. I tried to mix this cookie so then it also like was using very similar colors that if you did mix it, it would look pretty good together. Because like purples and pinks and blues are kind of all in the same part of the color wheel, right? So if they blend together, it'll kind of be nice. Okay, just cleaning off my hand. And then we've got, okay, the next section. So like, let's go into the purple color because we're already here. And like I said, I think the purple will be closer to like more of a blue tone. I'm gonna actually try to do the alizarin crimson and see how that looks. I gotta add a bit more white to the palette as well. That's why I have a big tube of this. Use quite a bit of white, at least in my paintings. Okay, let's see. We definitely want more of a bluey purple. Didn't make that blue enough. I feel like on the screen it kind of looks more so this one, I'm working on changing the tags for the live. Thanks, hun. Yes, you can do it while I'm streaming. So that's like I said, it's just not blue enough yet, so I should have added maybe more blue at the start. It's okay. We can adjust that. Yeah, my husband's in the background of the stream, just trying to help me out with all of the techie stuff. He's been the one that's like helped me like add tags and descriptions and stuff on my videos because I can't do it all. So he's helping me out with that. He also is the one who designed my website. I don't know what to call your job title. He does like cloud services and stuff for work, but he also is learning how to code right now, so he can like code my website, but then he's also into security stuff too. So he's very like front end, back end developer and cloud and security. So it's all really great things for me, because then I don't have to learn how to do all those skills. I can just like focus on doing a lot of like the painting and stuff. Okay, let's see how close that purple is. Now it's a little bit different, but I kind of like it. I kind of like that purple. That's a really nice purple. We'll just change up the purple a little bit. That's fine. That one's like definitely more blue. I might add a bit more blue just for the darker areas and get that deep blue on the sides. And I just added ultramarine blue. A lot of the paint brands have similar colors as well, so you don't have to use Gamblin, but I really like Gamblin because they use linseed oil and no other like solvents or anything in their oil paint. And I find the pigments are just really rich and beautiful. And also there is like a few other brands that I've been recommended as well, but they use walnut oil, which walnut oil is really smooth, and I've tried it a little bit and I like the texture of it, but it takes a lot longer for walnut oil to dry, and I don't really need to be waiting double or triple the time for the walnut oil to dry. So I just kind of stick with the linseed oil. And I found that these paintings look great over time with the linseed oil. Some people find that linseed oil like will yellow their paintings, but I mean, that might be in 100 years, so it's fine. The pigments kind of change based on, that's actually something cool that I've learned, is the pigments actually change based on the, the temperature, humidity, and the sun exposure that your painting gets. So if you leave it in the dark for quite a while, the whites in your painting will start to look different. And if you put it in the sun, then like the colors will slowly shift. So it's really cool that oil paint kind of changes in color over time, and you kind of have a different painting in the future. I find that really neat about oil painting. So yeah, this is like the deeper blue on the sides of that section. I'm gonna make a lighter one as well. I'm mixing kind of blue in there. So the main part of that kind of, I shall move my arrow. I will remember. I'm mixing this kind of purpley section right now. Right there. Did I make that too light? Let's see. Honestly, you can't go wrong with these beautiful colors. Okay, so I definitely made that quite a bit lighter, but that's okay. I will also, on top of making that, I will take a little bit from here. We'll make a deeper one too. So we'll have slight more transition with this one. Because it looks like in some of the swirly areas there is kind of this lighter purple anyway. If you look really closely at the reference, you can see like lighter purple swirls. So I think that looks pretty anyway. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so we've got this color here. I'm going to put this on the side of the palette. So I'm going to maybe start it down here because this one is also the pink. And then this transition color here. And then we've also got the lighter one. There we go. And now we will clean up the palette again. And we will work on the blue section. Now we're working on the blue section. I love using cerulean blue. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the more expensive hues to use, but it's just so bright and you hardly need any of the blue color to make it just, it's just such a pretty color. I will show you as I'm mixing the blue. Okay, now clean off my hand. Okay, so we'll start out with a nice chunk of this blue. Like, look how pretty it is already. It's such a pretty blue. It doesn't even do it justice on the screen. It's just such a pretty color. Okay. Look how pretty that is. It's like this nice, like, deep blue. And sometimes I also like to add a little bit of the phthalo turquoise in because it's almost got kind of like a green tint to it, this blue color. I'm noticing that there is some green tints. And yeah, this is a really pretty one too. This is a more expensive pigment as well. But it's worth it, and you don't need to use too much of it, especially when you're doing like tiny paintings. I think that's why I like doing tiny paintings too, is it makes it so when you're using the pigments, you're like, okay, like it's just doing a small project, right? Especially when you're starting out, like I found it so much easier to just like do smaller paintings and not use as much paint because I was just kind of learning and practicing. I also like to paint on paper too, and I find that paper is really nice to work on just because you don't have to prep the surface. So the type of paper I use is like a special oil painting paper. Now it is, I would say, more expensive. I think I worked it out to being like comparable, but like sometimes a little bit more expensive depending on the quality of canvas you get. Definitely more expensive than like wood panels and stuff too. But it's already like prepped and ready for you, and the painting surface is so smooth. Which if you're going for more of that realistic style, using a really smooth surface, like that's why a lot of people like sand down their canvases. Okay, so this blue is obviously very bright. I'm gonna put it on the side here. We're gonna work on getting some white in that color. Okay. It's looking pretty good. I actually want to add a little bit more of this in there, the turquoise. I'm a big fan of green and adding kind of more of the bluey greens in. And you'll just see me pretty much comparing it to the reference photo quite a bit. So do as much comparison to the reference photo, especially when you're beginning. Actually, I recommend if you're beginning to use a color wheel so you can like go like onto like even just like I'm using paint.net as where I open up my reference photos, and you can't see it right now, but there's like a little color wheel and you can use like the little picker tool and you can select a color in your image and then it'll kind of show you where on the color wheel that color kind of sits, and then it'll give you a better idea of which shades of colors to mix. And I find that's really helpful for beginners. Also, just learning basic color theory. A lot of people say that, but basic color theory is really important to being able to establish yourself with painting. I've just always been very interested in color, so I enjoy doing color theory. I know it's a little boring for some people, but it can really help you become better at painting and creating those more realistic tones. So don't skip the color theory lessons. I'm wanting to make this more green as I go along. Really love the cerulean blue, but this one in the reference photo definitely has more of a green tint, and it's just really pretty. There we go. Because I think that was just like a little too blue for what I'm going for. Let's see. It's like closer to what I want. I'm gonna put a little bit on to the side. Add a bit of white to this. Don't want to make it too green though. The blue is still like a little bit bright. I'm actually going to add specifically cadmium green to it, I think. Hopefully this isn't a mistake. Just want to add a little bit of those yellow tones to it more, but I don't want to add just like plain yellow. There, it's getting a little bit more green that way. So that one was cadmium green. There, that's giving us a bit more of that like turquoise color. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Now the one in the reference photo is a lot more like desaturated. I think there might be a little bit of orange in it, but I don't really want mine to be super desaturated. I like to have the bright colors. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, that gives a really nice color. Okay. Grab a little bit of this. I'm making the darker areas now, so I'll move my arrow down. Oh, I didn't move it to the blue color. But down here in these darker areas along the edge of the blue is what I'm going for now. Just to get those transitions again like the other shades. Working on, doesn't have to be exact. I think I'm gonna have to add a little bit of the ultramarine blue. Maybe I will add it over here and see how it goes with the color, because it's going to make it almost like a little purpley. Yeah. see. Need it more purpley actually. Very much blue along the sections on the side. Bluey purple. I could actually go even darker along the sides. I'm like looking and I'm like, I probably could even use like some of these colors along the edges. Like this purple color would actually go really well along the edges. Kind of already like recreating the purple just by adding this ultramarine blue to it. Okay, that's looking pretty nice. Let me see. It's definitely like very dark compared to that though. I don't know if I like that color. It's okay, we don't have to like every color we mix. That's why I keep it off to the side until I'm like happy with the color. How am I gonna approach this? So I really like this color. This color turned out really nice. I might honestly just desaturate it because it's in the shadow area, and we're going to add just a little bit of red to it. A little bit of red. I'll make it kind of purpley. And then I'll come in with a bit of, I'm gonna put a bit of cadmium orange in it as well. Just like a very small amount of cadmium orange. And like I said, that helps to like desaturate the color, and the colors tend to be more desaturated when they're not in the light anyway. It's okay that we're using that. More of that. There we go. See how that really changed the color quite a bit just by adding a little bit of orange to it. There we go. Let me see. Yeah, so that's definitely getting there. I would even add more orange. So we really want those edges to pop on the side so it looks like it's in the shadow area. Yeah. That's getting closer. That's exactly what we want right there. Could even go a little bit darker. That looks a lot better. I would say that's close enough there after adding the orange in. So we've got these two transition colors, so that's going to kind of be the main base color, and then we're going to slowly fade it into this color here. And then we've got to do the cookie color. So I'm going to put this one kind of on the side here, so mix two colors for that. That's the edge. And then this is the other part. So now we have all of the icing colors. And then, yeah, we gotta mix the cookie color. And we're looking for kind of like, I would say it's like a yellowy orange, but it's like desaturated with a bit of blue. Such a tiny amount of color for the cookie. Yep. The cookie kind of section is very small, so we definitely don't need a ton of color. So like I said, it's like yellow and orange. Definitely got some white in there. And then we're gonna probably desaturate it with a little bit of this blue. So we'll start out with some yellow and some orange. And we'll add a little bit of blue. Got this gross green color, but trust me, trust the process. Need a bit more yellow in there. So when we lighten this up, it will look like the cookie, I promise. Looks very, very green right now. But sometimes when you put colors on your palette, it's gonna look so off, and then you put it up against and it's pretty good. So I'm gonna put that there. I'm gonna add a bunch of white to it. Probably gonna have to add a bit more yellow to it. It's looking more accurate now. And in the photo, I would say this could be kind of like the highlight colors. If anything, it's maybe still a little bit much. Adding that orange in will really kind of bring out, there we go. Let me see how that looks now. That is almost perfect. I would say we actually need a little bit more blue. Because there's some darker areas too, so we're going to also create transition in the cookie shade. I know this looks very weird. You wouldn't think that this would be the cookie color, but this is the weird thing about color theory and mixing paint. You're like, that cookie's white, right? With maybe like a little bit of kind of like a beige tone. But no, definitely there. And then we've got a bit more of the blue color. And we gotta add a little bit of red to make it a bit purpley. A bit more orange in there. This is gonna be like the darkest part of the shadows around the cookie. So I guess I can use my arrow to show. I guess it's kind of where it's gonna be. It's like it's between the icing and the cookie. There's a really darker kind of browny purple color, I guess, in the shadow. Yeah, it definitely needs to be a bit deeper than that. I would say it's got way more blue in it. Yeah. And this is gonna be pretty close, I would say. That is pretty accurate. We could even go like a little bit more blue. This really deepens it. A little bit more red too. A bit more blue. Still could go a little bit more blue. There we go. Okay, we've got a nice cookie color now. That's exactly what we were looking for. So that's the dark areas, this one here. And then we've got kind of the slighter kind of transition color between the dark and the lighter areas. And then right here is the lightest kind of parts of the cookie. Oh, I added a little bit of blue in there. We'll avoid that section. And okay, let me look. So we've got the little heart on the cookie too, but I'm thinking we'll do the heart on the cookie kind of like the same as the background color. So we'll use some of these. And then the darker area around the heart. So I'll use my little arrow. The darker area around the heart here in the middle is like that darker purple color that we have here. So I think we'll be able to use this dark purple, kind of like the same shadow color at the bottom. And that should be good. And then we've got the one thing we can mix is the highlight area. Let me see. So sometimes highlights are a little deceiving. So that's actually a very like blue highlight. So you want to add a little bit of the cerulean blue. It's a very blue highlight. Might even want to get a bit more paint. Not much. Trying not to add too much. Just so we have enough of the highlight. There's my cloth. I'm gonna like end up getting this on me if I don't wash it off. And that's looking pretty good. There we go. Let me match that up. Yeah, that's very close to there's kind of some highlights in this top section here and then around the edge, and then there's even some highlights on the actual cookie too. So what I'll do is while I'm painting to get kind of these highlights on the cookie is I'll mix this with like a little bit of this yellowy cookie color, so then it'll all match up. So I'll put the highlight color here. And I think we can pretty much start painting at this point. This is a good point to start painting. I guess I will move, thinking I will move a little bit of these colors off to the side. And I have made it so on the next kind of scene where you can see my sketch and painting, you can kind of see all these colors. You can just see this like in a closer up area. So I'm gonna kind of clean this area up because I like to lay my paintbrushes kind of on the side here. And I keep one of these cloths on the side to hold my paintbrushes. So I've got like a whole stack of these cloths. I'm just going to lay that along the side here. And I can lay my paintbrushes a little bit nicer there. Okay, we will transition to this scene. So I did a little sketch. You don't have to do anything fancy with the sketch, just very basic. Okay, I'm going to move the camera a little bit to the side so you can see me better. I guess I can keep talking while I walk in behind, but I found you'll get to see the Christmas cat tree now. See the Christmas cat tree in the background there? And you'll see my little camera set up, so I'm planning on filming a time lapse. There we go. Trying to get it in frame, so then, because last time I think I didn't have it in frame enough, and I was like, as I was looking at it, I was like out of frame quite a bit. Okay, pretty good. I'm gonna be kind of like more here. Looks pretty good. make sure I kind of stand in this area for the most part. And I like to kind of step back and like look at what I'm doing. I like how you can kind of see the cat tree in the background. Okay. Now I have another arrow here, so then you guys can see that. I hope that, yeah, my mic is on this scene. I think, so I tend to paint the background first, but I think, what am I gonna do? Sometimes I paint the object first and then I go in with the background afterwards, so I don't like get my hand in. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll paint the cookie and then we'll do like a nice pink in the background after. And then at least if you're not wanting to do the background and you just want to make the background white, then we'll get the cookie out of the way first. Depends on how I'm feeling. Okay, maybe we'll start with this like top purpley color of the cookie. So I have a big arrangement of colors or paintbrushes. Got a Talk paintbrush, right? Okay. I'm gonna film some shorts as well. So I'm just getting my cameras ready. But yeah, we'll talk paintbrushes. Now, my favorite ones to use are the Princeton Velvet Touch ones. So I'll kind of show them in frame here. You guys might not be able to see it. Kind of hard to see, but they're the Princeton ones. I find the tips are really nice. Like the brushes are really soft. And I find they're like so easy to work with. And then the other ones that I do enjoy using as well are, surprise, surprise, more Princeton brushes, the Imperial series ones. So the Velvet Touch and then the Imperial series are my two favorite. I find the Imperial ones, they're harder to keep, I don't know, like the tips kind of get like frayed a lot easier because they are like a firmer or harder brush, like the bristles. I think they're supposed to kind of like mimic like hog hair, but these are like synthetic ones. I don't really want to be painting with hogs. Feels weird to paint with animal hair, especially as a vegan. So yeah, I use all synthetic brushes and I try to use all pigments too that don't have any animal products in them, because apparently they put like animal like oils or like different pigments are made with like animal fats, I think. Just try to stay away from those. The little words were barely readable. What are you talking about? Husband in the chat. I'm not sure what he means by that. Okay, I'm setting up the time lapse. And for the sketch, make sure that you erase the sketch a bit beforehand. Again, with the gummy erasers. So I have these gummy erasers here, and they're really great for just dabbing off the graphite a little bit on the brush. Barely readable on the brush, yeah. I know, it's a little bit hard to see, but hopefully it's okay enough. Looks like it's all in frame though. It's going to be hard to read small details because like you said, it's not streaming in very good quality. Like I wish you guys could see it in like so much better quality, because I'm like filming with like 4K cameras, but you cannot stream in 4K right now. It would just take way too much bandwidth and probably freeze if everyone was watching in 4K. Okay, and we'll start, like I said, I think with the purple. I like the purple color. Okay, I'm gonna start by hitting record on my time lapse. I think it's all kind of set up and ready to go. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, hit record, and then I don't really have to mess around with it afterwards. It's already like pre-set up, so just set it and go. And then same with this, I'm doing the shorts. Okay. Trying to set up all the cameras. Probably making this like 10 times harder for myself because I like want to record it all. Record everything. Okay, time-lapse video is set. And let's start doing this. There we go. So like I said, this just takes off a bit of the graphite. And then it just makes it a little bit, duller. I find if you don't take off a decent amount of the graphite, then it will mix with your paint, especially the lighter colors, like the yellows and whites and stuff. It'll really mix into it. And then it'll make your colors look really muddy, which we don't want. Trying to avoid that. The other thing that I do suggest that beginner artists do if they're having trouble with where to lay the colors down, or if you're having a hard time seeing if the color looks good on the page, is to do kind of like an underpainting. And I think a lot of artists suggest this. Some swear by underpaintings and they have to do underpaintings every time. I've tried it a bunch. I don't like the feel of like acrylic paint underneath mine, but you can do underpaintings with oils as well. A lot of the time underpaintings with oils are done with solvents, which I don't use any solvents in my oil paint because they're very toxic. And if I can avoid toxic things in my studio, I do. The medium that I use, like I said, is linseed oil. And then I also, Gamblin makes like a solvent-free gel. Oh, here's the solvent-free gel that I use by Gamblin. And it's a painting medium, just the same as any sort of like, gel solvents and stuff you can buy, except it's non-toxic, which is great. Like, I have a kid and pets in here, and, not everyone has like the best ventilated studio. Like, I'm painting in our dining room, I guess. This is my art studio. We converted the dining room. We got rid of our dinner table. Have a video of that. And I converted this into a studio. Okay. I think my sketch is very dark today. That's okay. Easier for you guys to see then. That looks great. Okay, we're going to start out. I really like using the flat brushes, the Josol blender brushes. This one's a number 4 brush because I'm using the paper size, like I said, was a 3" by 3" paper. So very tiny. I guess you can kind of see some of the, well, you could see in the other shot, but behind me, there's like a whole thing of mini paintings. I do a lot of mini paintings. So that's why I was like, I need to have a mini paint challenge too, because I just do so many mini paintings. Okay, so this purple one, we're gonna do the darkest values first. We're gonna start out with this pretty dark value here. Got this kind of nice purple. We'll start out in this top section. Now the icing goes pretty much right to the edge. We can always touch up the edges at the end too with like a detail brush. Now you want to go over the edge just a little bit too into the middle of the cookie where the color is, because you can lighten it with the next color. You almost want to have kind of like a blended transition area. The purple comes along the edge a little bit here. We'll try to match the swirls and stuff a little bit as we're mixing too. See how close we can get it to the original, right? Come around the edge here, and I want a little bit of the cookie on this edge to show. So I'm just gonna leave a little bit there. And then there's also just a slight bit of cookie on this top section too. And we'll go here. And it kind of stops around this area here. So we'll kind of stop there. There is a bit more purple, like the darker purple kind of down here as well. So I'll add it around this curve. And that's the extent of that. Now I just dip it here. Oh, I should show you guys this too. So I use like cleaning oil. That's what the, oops, I put my finger in that pigment. Now I have a purple finger. I have this little jar of like linseed oil. It just says cleaning oil on it, but I just got a little jar. It's easier to dip in these jars. And I clean my brush off on it, kind of on the side there. Wanted to keep my rag here. Normally I keep it beside my painting here, but I wanted to keep it so you guys can kind of see like when I'm dipping my brush and like when I'm cleaning it. So you have an idea of like how often I clean my brushes. And that just helps get it off. But this transition color, you don't have to clean it too thoroughly because the next color is pretty similar. I really got that purple on my hands. Trying to like get the pigment off my finger. Definitely try not to like get the paint all over my hands, but it's kind of inevitable as a painter to like get paint on your hands sometimes. I'm definitely one of the more cleanly painters. Like I don't like to get tons of paint all over me. Which I think is why I like the small paintings too. You stay cleaner. Okay, so we'll slowly add this deeper color. And then we'll also add the deeper colors. So a very nice like subtle transition on the sides here, which is exactly what we want. We definitely want the sides to be that darker color and then slowly fade into this lighter, slightly lighter color. I'm also leaving room for where the highlights are going to be. So there's that big highlight there, and then there's also going to be some highlights on the side here. Especially when you're painting alla prima, it's better to just leave the white areas there because it's if you don't want the painting to be super thick, then if you leave those kind of white areas, it's easier to apply the highlight afterwards. Now we're going to go straight into this lighter color. And now we can kind of play around with this, adding kind of the lighter color, but also the deeper color too. Might dip in the deeper color and add that into the swirl there. Really glad I added some swirls to this cookie. I feel like swirls are just going to be fun to paint. And I like to apply it really light at first, and then you can kind of come back in and add more thickness to the paint afterwards. I'm almost doing kind of just like the underpainting I'm talking about, but with the colored paint. Leave this little area in the middle for the blue color. Wonder how long this one's going to take us to paint today. I've tried to allot 3 hours to mixing paint and painting, but if I pick a really intricate reference photo like all these swirls and stuff, then I don't know how long it's going to take. And I think we'll go back in with a slightly lighter color at the end and kind of just like play with making like more almost like white swirls within the purple. It'll make it stand out, I think, a lot better. Okay, I also want to paint this heart next, just because it's at the top. Might as well. I just want to paint the heart because it's cute. So I have a 20/0 liner brush. I feel like I'm going to need a really tiny liner brush. I'm going to start out with this darker shadow color. We're going to paint that around the heart first. Hopefully the darker shadow will make it pop really nicely. A little bit more of that. Clean that off a bit. And we'll start adding the pink color. Like I said, I think I want to make it kind of similar color to the background. So we're going to go with kind of like this pink and then slowly work our way to the lighter pink because there's definitely some lighter parts in the heart as well. This pink is so pretty. So we'll do kind of the deeper pink on the sides. And we'll have this other pink too. And this will be the lighter areas. I think we might even want to make the top section of the heart even lighter as well. Just add a little bit of this highlight color on the side. Love using these like really tiny detail brushes. So fun to add like all these like little details. I think that's why I like the small ones, is like I just get to use my favorite brushes all the time. And when you're doing bigger paintings, you definitely want to use like bigger brushes. You wouldn't do like a giant painting with such a small brush, right? Kind of scales with the canvas. And I'm even going to add a bit more white in to the top of the heart here. And that's the highlight white that we made. It's got kind of like that blue tint to it. And what we're going to do around the heart now is we're going to fade it out into the purple that's around. So I'm going to actually take kind of this darker one actually. I'm going to fade it into the color a bit. Just so it blends in a little bit better. At some point I'll have to take a bigger brush too to blend it. This blends like closer to the heart without ruining any of the details for now. Okay, I'm going to take this brush again. We're just going to dab out the edges of the heart, and that'll kind of smooth things out. I like how it's almost making like a slightly deeper hue around it as I blend it out. You can always come back and like kind of add a bit more detail later too. Just slightly, where is it? Got this one. So this one, this is a round brush, #1 round brush. I'm gonna add a bit more. I change the shape a little bit. Not fully happy with the shape. Since the highlight's also coming from the top area, I'm going to blend out this top shadow a little bit more, so it's less sharp. Will help us change the heart shape a little bit too. There we go. That's looking pretty good now. And now I think we will work on, I think the blue section would be nice next, and then we'll do the pink last. So I'm going to clean this brush off so we don't have too many brushes to clean afterwards. And we'll use this purple, the one we use for the purple, for the blue section as well. So you can see I'm kind of just dipping my brush in here, and it's slowly cleaning the pigment out of the brush. I'm gonna have to do a video on, I have a short that I made on how I clean my paintbrushes, like how do I fully clean them after a painting session, but this is kind of just in between pigments while I'm painting. And then to fully clean them, I use soap, and then I have also a solvent-free conditioner for the brushes as well that I use. And I find it works really well. It's like the Masters brush cleaner. So we're gonna do blue next. We're gonna start out with the darker part of the blue, this kind of like desaturated blue. Okay. And we're gonna add it into the edges. Now there's more cookie on this side, so we have to be mindful that we're leaving room so we can actually still have a little bit of the cookie peeking through on the edges. I'm putting a very thin layer. I find working in thin layers to start out with when you're doing like alla prima is really helpful, because then you can still go in with more of the color at the end if you want to add a little extra detail. It's easier to play with it and blend it around if you're not adding like super thick layers, like unless you're going for thick layers too, because I know some people like to paint more like impasto, which is like thicker. Just not the type of style I do. The other type of art that I do like to do on my free time though is like abstract art. I'm a really big fan of abstract art as well. I don't share many of my abstract pieces though, but I really enjoy kind of playing with color and abstract shapes and designs. Okay, I think we got most of the side covered there. I'm going to clean this off again. And then we're going to go in with the lighter blue kind of for the middle section. Now we'll go in with this beautiful blue color. I'm glad we went with a slightly brighter blue than the reference color because it's just so pretty. Now we'll go around the edges after and kind of blend them out. But while I'm kind of blocking in the colors, I don't do a lot of blending because as soon as you start blending the colors together, you can, like I said, end up with really muddy mess. I might even add a little bit more white to this section. And some more. Looks like we've got a bit of blue mixed in with the purple as well in this section. Guess I never moved my arrow. Gotta move my arrow, so I'm working on that section there. Then do some more of the swirls down here too. This one kind of got the pink swirl, so we want to leave room for a pink swirl in there. I really like how I swirled this one. I feel like the colors just blend really nicely together. So I hope I can recreate it and do it justice. Also, feel free to like listen to your own music while you're watching me, because I'm not going to be talking the whole time. I'm trying to walk through the process and talk a decent amount, but I'm on YouTube, so I know they will demonetize me if I use any sort of awesome music. I guess I could like use some like music from like Epidemic Sounds or something, copyright free music. But I don't know if you guys want to listen to music. Let me know if you would like me to add some music kind of in the background, so then, I don't know, just so it's not so quiet, right? I think it's nice to just like listen to our own genre of music though. And we've got some blue section in here too. I'll leave some room for pink as well. Okay. Okay, perfect. Glad to hear that. I know what it's like to not be able to put music in the background. It's okay for silence, don't worry. Yes, okay. I kind of figured most people wouldn't mind having no music. It's nice to hear it from the audience, though. I appreciate that. Also, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here on the stream. I know that the stream is at like a very awkward time for some people, but it's like the only time of the week that I was able to find time to stream. Like the chill vibe of just being quiet. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm the same way too. I like to do my do my own thing. Okay. We're gonna add a little bit of blue in this section. But I'm glad I can like put on these streams and that we have like a little bit of time. I've been like really wanting to do streaming for the last couple of years, and I felt like I finally had like enough gear to be able to do it, because I didn't realize it takes a lot of like camera gear to put on a stream. Like me and my husband, we used to do Twitch streaming for a little bit there. We did like video games, but it was just like our face cam and then, you know, a screen capture of like our screen and the game you were playing. So it wasn't like super intense. I can't do music to stream in my work. Yeah, exactly. So I'm happy to have Catch It Live. Watch your videos mostly on Facebook. It's 4 p.m. in Argentina. Oh, okay, so Argentina. Cool. I have some audience from Argentina. I love that. Yeah, it's I guess not bad timing then. I've heard like a lot of the European audience too will be able to tune in at some point, because it's like, you know, after dinner type hours. So I'm glad that there's going to be a few people. I know like I'm streaming right now. It's like 11:28 a.m. where I am, and I'm in Canada. So it's like West Coast time. So I know a lot of people are like in the middle of their workday. It's on a Wednesday. But I'm glad at least a few people will be able to join in, and I'm going to try to keep these live up on my channel too, so then people can watch them back if they did want to like paint along with me. But it's nice to catch someone live when you can. You have a nice setup. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's my husband thinks I went a little bit overboard with the setup, but I'm like, I need to go a little bit overboard for the stream, right? So I've got like, you know, the time-lapse cam, because I really love making time-lapse videos, so I didn't want to like not make this into a time-lapse video as well. So I knew I needed like more cameras to be able to do time-lapse as well. But I'm so glad that more people could join in on the stream this week. And we'll like slowly grow our little community here. Okay, we are almost. Where should we add blue? Where else should we add some blue? Add a bit of blue there. We gotta leave room for the pink though, right? And then we'll be able to blend everything out after that. Okay, I might just use like a completely different brush for the pink color. I have another number 4 brush, the Josol blender, like the flat brushes, so I'll just use another one of those. And this is the pink color we decided on. We'll just start with the dark, and then we'll slowly blend into the lighter colors. Hello! Welcome to the stream. Nice to have you here. OMG, a cat. Oh, did one of the cats jump on the cat tree? Where did they go? Oh, Kit Kat. Yeah, that's Kit Kat. In the chat. Yeah. Kit Kat is... kind of figured the cat tree in the background would be fun, because you'll probably see them randomly jumping in at certain points. Kit Kat! Come here. Want to come say hi? Yeah. Oh, she's meowing for us. This is Kit Kat. She's my little fluffy baby. I love you, Kit Kat. probably see her in a lot of my shorts. I'll put her on the little cat tree. Every year, this is our thing, is we decorate the cat tree as a Christmas tree, because when you have cats, if you have cats, you know that they will knock over a Christmas tree. Yeah, I know. She's so cute. Oh, she's my little angel. I'm trying to convince my husband to get more cats. We have 2 cats. We have one, she might show up at some point. Her name's Mona. She has like a little mustache. She's really cute. And then, yeah, that one's Kit Kat. And they're both just so cute. Yeah, so cute. I love them so much. So we need to get more at some point. Technically, it's a tree. Exactly. It's valid. But it's like a fun little tradition that we do now, because I'm like, well, we just decorate our Christmas cat tree now instead of a regular Christmas tree. And then we don't have to put up too much. So I just got like, you know, the fake garland, and like, it looks cute. Looks pretty cute. Are you still standing there, Kit Kat? Do you want to say hi again? Here, I'll bring her over again. My little baby. My little baby. Say hi to everyone. Yeah, I love you. I love you so much. She's probably upset because normally I'm like sitting down while I'm painting, so she'll like sit on my lap the whole time I'm painting. Oh, she's so snuggly. Yeah, she's staring at the camera. Oh, I love you. I know. Okay, I'll keep painting. Everyone loves you, Kit Kat. I know. She's normally really shy, like around people when they come over, so not many people get to actually see how like cute and cuddly she is. She only likes a select few. I guess she really loves my husband's dad. They've looked after our cats quite a bit when we go on like vacations and stuff. And so she's used to his parents. But not many other people. She was actually very shy when we first got her, and she's like come out of her shell a little bit more. We've had her, I guess we've had the cats for like 9 years now, so she's officially 9 years old as of, I think, August this year. I wish cats lived forever. I just love them so much. We also have a dog too, but he normally is a daddy's boy and is up in the office with my husband, so he normally won't spend time with me in the studio. Just always with my husband working up in the office. Okay, we're gonna go in with the lighter pink now to do the lighter sections. Okay. And we'll go in with this color. I hope all of these colors blend out really nicely and we end up with a really cute looking cookie. If not, we'll try again some other time. Like I said, we also made dino cookies, so I think I should also paint a dino cookie. Already I'll have all this paint mixed anyway, so I might as well paint a few other cookies on top of that. And I'll add some pink in this area. Now I'm gonna try to blend out some of the colors. I think I'm gonna take this #1 brush, and the #1 brush should be big enough size that we can blend it out. We'll see if I want to switch up brushes, but I think this will be a good size. I've been trying to look for a #2 brush as well in the round size because I really like them for like blending in between the transition colors, but I haven't been able to find one yet, so. Slowly blend that out. Dip that in a bit more oil so it's blendable. You have to be careful with the blue color because we don't want to turn this like super pinky purple. I think I want to add probably the highlights in at the end up here. It'll look so cool. Sometimes I'm in a rush to add the highlights because they look so pretty. But if you can resist, that's more ideal because you don't want to mix all of the white and make your colors super white at the start. Okay. Mix that into the side. It's slowly coming together, right? Okay. When you look at it on screen, it definitely looks darker than the reference photo, but it's actually quite close in person. It's hard to explain. Okay, I'm gonna add some kind of white sections to the blue. Just because I think adding slightly lighter color will really add dimension to the blue areas. Now we'll add kind of some white. I'm going to grab a bit more white for the purple color. I'm going to add some lighter parts to the purple as well. I'm gonna blend them out. Trying to see if we need to add purple in any of these other areas too. I'll slowly build up the layers a little bit more just to add more dimension to these, because I feel like just slowly adding kind of this lighter color is adding a bit more dimension to the swirls. So a little bit more accurate too as we lighten the colors. And I'm almost adding kind of like a really light rim to it, so there's a bit of a difference between, or there's a bit of almost like a divider with the white around the edges, so you can tell that that's like the shadow, and then this is the edge right around the darker pigments. And I'm going to add some of those highlights in. Kind of have to trust the process. There's a lot of trust the process when painting, and you're like, okay, layer and layer and layer until it looks okay. And then we're going to kind of do this with like all the colors too. We're going to slowly work on adding little bits of the lighter color to each of them. There's quite a bit of highlights on this side. I need to tone down this color on the edge here. Blend this out a bit. I just put a little bit of oil on my brush and I'm like blending around the edges. I find putting a little bit of oil makes it like a little smoother to blend with. And then we're gonna go in, I think, the blue area next, and I'm gonna add a bit more white to that section and some of the highlights. Probably add this highlight in now, just along the edge. I noticed that the highlight kind of trails out. Make that a bit more rounded. So we've got highlight here. There we go. And then we've got a few highlights along the edge. LOL, I need more screen space. Am I taking up your screen? I can't see the stream while keeping all my stuff open. My husband must be coding upstairs, is what he's saying. Need multiple screens. I feel like we need to get 3 monitors for you. You always don't have enough screens up there. I think I'm pretty good with having 2 monitors, but sometimes it's nice to have an extra one if you're like, if you want to have all these different things open. Okay, I'm going to add the highlights in this section now. There's kind of like a bigger highlight here. Need to make that a little thicker. I'm gonna kind of blend a bit of the white with the blue as well, because it's definitely a blue highlight. And then we've got another bigger highlight here on the side. Right there. And the cookie will look extra shiny. My husband said he wants to watch all my streams though, that's why he's trying. He wants to be my viewer every time, and I appreciate that. Husband support over there. Got a bit of highlights kind of going along the edges here too, so I'm gonna kind of line the edges with a bit of highlight. We don't need to put the highlights exactly where they end up on the reference image, but we want them to be decently close. So it like makes sense realistically where a highlight would be. And then actually have a little bit of highlights on the bottom here. To add, there must be like a reflection at the bottom too. You can kind of see, oh geez, the sun is slowly coming into the house. Got in my eye. Okay, you can see that there's like a slight bit of a highlight along this bottom line here. There must be a reflection on the table. Make sure to put a highlight in there. And there's also, we haven't put a lot of highlights in the pink yet, but we'll get there. And then a little bit on the edge here. Okay, I will grab the pink color now, and we will blend out the pink a little bit better. I'll grab some white. I think I got some blue in my brush by accident. There's just like blue over there where the pink is. Okay. There we go. And blend the pink with a little bit of these highlights. gonna add a little bit of highlight in this pink as well. And if we feel like we need to adjust the cookie as we're going and adding in like different parts like of the background and stuff, we can. But I think it looks pretty good right now. I think I want to lighten up the cookie a little, or the heart a little bit. There's a bit of this pink. I don't know if I'm liking the pink I used for the cookie that much. I want to lighten it up quite a bit. I don't know why I keep calling it a cookie, a heart. A heart candy. There we go. I don't know, we can always adjust the heart color a little bit later too. Like, I feel like it's just really purpley, and I wanted to make it, I think, a little bit more pink. That's okay. It looks pretty good. It's okay. We'll come in and put a little highlight there and call it a day. Then we're going to work on the cookie section now. So I'll probably just use this brush. I'm going to clean out the pink out of the brush, well, the pink and the white out of the brush. My cloth is getting a little dirty. I might have to flip it over at some point. The pigment's slowly coming out of the brush. So there we go. And now we'll work on the cookie section. And like I said, we can go back to the swirls afterwards if we feel like it needs something. Like I maybe a little too much highlight in that section. Touch it up a little bit. We'll also we'll go in with the darker color first around the edges. And this darker color is going to sit kind of more underneath the shadowy areas. Just where the cookie is. It's going to almost blend into like the blue icing a little bit. And then we've also got some in this section down here. And we've got a bit over here, kind of on the edge. There's another little shadow here in this cookie section. There is a little bit in the cookie over here as well. And a bit kind of on the outer edge of the cookie. And closer to here. I'm gonna also add kind of in this section, because you've kind of got the part where the icing is that's darker, and then you've also got the cookie that's darker right underneath the highlight, or under, not the highlight, the shadow. So I'm just deepening this color here along the edges. And we're going to also go in with like the purple too for the shadow, but really close to the cookie it's this deeper color, and then it fades into like the purple background. Okay, might bring this pink out a little bit more too. In the reference photo, the pink goes out quite a bit. And then we will start with the next color down, which is more of the like greenish color. And I know the green looks really weird. Like I said, the colors are going to look very odd when you first paint it. Feels weird making a cookie green, right? But when you put it against the other colors, it's crazy how this green color doesn't look so green anymore. And we've got a little bit here. There's not actually a ton of cookie down here, so I'm going to bring the blue out a bit. I'm going to take this brush. I'm going to take this deeper blue and just kind of bring it out here a bit more. And I'll do the same with the pink on this side. I'll bring it out a little bit more. I just don't have, I think I used this one for pink, didn't I? Just don't want to mix the colors too much. I'm going to bring the icing out a little bit more here. And I'm going to maybe bring this lighter pink into the darker part a little bit more, because there's not really cookie on this section. It's kind of hidden underneath the icing in that part. That's kind of what I said. It's like we're not really done quite yet with the cookie or the icing part. I'm going to add these lighter sections in still. Slowly work our way around, and we'll kind of like touch up the edges too with a brush afterwards, and some of the background will help us touch up the edges as well. You definitely end up having to touch up the edges more when you're just keeping the white background. But I'll show you how to touch them up, so then if you do want to keep the paper color or the white background, then you can have like cleaner edges. Okay, I'm just taking this kind of green color off so we can add the lighter part to the cookie now. I guess I can put the arrow. We're working on like this cookie part kind of at the bottom there. Okay, we're gonna add this kind of yellowy green color, and this is more accurate towards like what the cookie color is. Slowly adding that in. Also gonna grab some white because I'm gonna slowly want to lighten it as we move into the lighter sections of the cookie. We're going to add it into this bottom section too. And we added that darker blue on the side, so I'm actually going to bring some of the lighter blue in too now. Just cleaning my brush here. Taking off some of the darker blue, and I'm going to add some of this lighter blue in over here to extend the icing off the edge of it. There. Come in with the cookie color again. I'm just going to kind of blend some of this out. And I'll lighten up some of the shadow areas. There's not a ton of cookie on this section, but there is just a slight bit. I'm gonna add some in just because I want it there. I think it'll add a little bit of balance if I add a bit more cookie section over here. And when I'm stepping back and looking at it, I definitely could lighten up a few of the cookie sections on this side just to add like a few little highlights on top. Adding a bit more white. I'm just slowly blending it down with white. Just to add like almost like texture to the cookie. I'm kind of like dabbing it on now. If we dab it on, we should be able to like get the highlights on here. a little bit of cookie along the edge here. We've almost got kind of like, gotta bring more of this deeper color back into the edge here. I could even go a little darker. And then when we touch up the shadows, I think it'll all kind of come together along the side, and we can always lighten things up if we need to a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to clean this pink one a bit. I'm going to flip this over a little bit just to get a bit of a cleaner surface to wipe this off on. Now we're going to start on the background a bit. I'm going to start in the shadow sections first, and then I'm going to work my way over towards the lightest sections of the background, which is kind of like on the edges. Okay. So these kind of top ones were our background colors. So I'm going to start out with the deepest purple, and I'm going to put that right along the edge of the cookie. I might have to use a thinner brush to put on the next color. As long as we kind of get it there, and then we also need a deeper section here. And then I'm going to take the round brush because I think it'll blend it out pretty nicely, the one we used for the cookie. And we're going to get this like purpley color next. We're going to try to make that kind of like our transition color between the pink. So we've got such a nice purple. I love that. Slowly bring this color into the shadow. Now we will go in with the pink colors. And I have like a little blender brush too, and we should be able to blend this out pretty nicely. Go in with this color. We'll almost kind of like blend a little bit of this. Yeah, there we go. To make a slightly pinky purple transition color. And I'm really trying to put a thin layer on. It doesn't go fully yet, so we can just blend it afterwards. Like I said, we block in the colors first and then we blend. Just easier. You could blend as you go, but I find it's easier to block in the colors. And then for this, oh no, dropping my paintbrush. Conveniently didn't land on it. Go. I'm gonna grab the number 6 brush because I find it's easier to do bigger backgrounds with this. And I'm gonna go in with this pink color, kind of around the edges of here, of the shadow. Just where the shadow is, that's the color. And now, I'm gonna actually grab a little bit more white, move this out of the way. I'm gonna slowly mix in more white into the background. And then we're going to work our way out with this lighter color. And I think on the real edge of the painting, I'll also do like just make it like whiter kind of in the top section here. And then as it gets closer to the bottom, make it a little bit darker. We're going to come around with like a blender brush too. We'll go around the edges just to make those more crisp. Grab the white again, kind of do more of the white near the top here. Yeah, it's getting there slowly, you're right. Getting there. Not really in a rush though. I said the stream ends at 1, but if it takes us more than 45 minutes to finish this, which it shouldn't, We can always go up until 2 o'clock when I have to pick up my kiddo from school. Gave myself a little extra time just in case. At this stage, how do you feel about the colors? I feel pretty good about the colors. I'm gonna fix up a bit more color in like the middle and around the edges, but honestly, I'm liking it. I'm really happy with the way the colors are turning out. It's not going to be exact, and I feel like it looks a lot different in person versus how it's looking on like my computer screen. So yeah. It's a little deceiving, but I'll post pictures and stuff of my finished painting on my Instagram. I'll do that today. Probably tonight after I get to editing my videos and stuff for the day. I'll make sure I take a picture so you guys can see it maybe in its more truer color form, because it's really hard to see on camera. I mean, like I said, I changed a few of the colors so they're not exactly the same. And blend the shadows in a little bit. I'm gonna get the base color on though. It's so hard to not just blend things right away, but patience. Add like I said, I'm trying to make kind of this bottom section. I just want to add a little bit of dimension to the background, not just like one solid color. I feel like it's fun to play around and like make it slightly different. Do this with a lot of my ones that have backgrounds, which is why it like takes me a little bit longer with the ones with backgrounds. Because lately I've been finishing the paint challenges pretty quickly, the ones without backgrounds. As soon as I add a background, it takes a little bit longer. I just thought this looked so pretty with the pink rather than just a white background. I like tried adding like different colors on Photoshop. I actually put a blog post up on my website too about how you can kind of make reference photos more unique in your own. And I talked about using Photoshop in that. And it's like one of my ways, because like not all of the time can you take your own photos. Like obviously I took this one myself, but you can't always take your own photos, or you don't always have like the subject at home to take the photo that you want for like whatever vision you're going for. And it's just nice to be able to like play around with the reference photos more and make them more unique to your own like personal style. But yeah, so you can check that out on my website if you want to read that blog post. It gives you some good ideas on how you can edit a how to edit a reference photo to be more unique. I'm really trying to actually do more blog posts again. I have an email list on my website too if you want to get reminders like when I post my blog posts or if I have any like shop updates or anything. So I will send out like emails and stuff. Not super spammy about it. I'm trying to post like once a week, like on Sundays right now. And then I haven't actually done a lot of posts about shop updates because I don't sell a lot of my art. I just kind of enjoy painting and not selling it as much, I guess. I am taking a marketing course right now though with a local college. So I am learning a little bit about like marketing myself and like my business, because this kind of like was like hobby turned into a business this year. And I wanted to focus more on like growing this so I can do this as my career so I don't have to like go back to work or anything. So my husband is kind of like supporting me while I slowly learn how to like run a business and figure things out, which is really nice. You know, a lot of people don't always get that privilege to be able to like stay home and like figure out, you know, they don't have someone supporting them. But I've been a stay-at-home mom for the like past, I guess my child's 7 years old, so I've been a stay-at-home mom for 7 years. And I thought about going back to work because I used to work in a nail salon for a little while there. I worked a lot of like retail and stuff too, but I'm technically a certified nail technician as well, and I think that's why I like painting small things, because I used to paint people's nails, finger and toenails. So, but I like painting paper, I think, more than I like painting nails. I don't even do my nails very much anymore. I did them in the summer, but maybe I should do them so they look pretty on camera. Now we're just blending out the shadow a little bit now. See what I mean by like trust the process though? Gotta like slowly blend things out. You can't rush into it or else you end up making a lot of mistakes on these things. Like just slowly blend it out. Be really patient when it comes to paintings. I do it all in one go, like a la prima, but you could also like come back another day and like if you want to make it a little bit more realistic, you could, you know, touch up the highlights and play around with the colors a bit. Like a lot of artists really like adding like different color washes to their paintings just to make certain things like stand out more. I know like a lot of the masters, they used a lot of painting washes, which is just adding a bit of oil to a color and like really thinning it out. And adding extra dimension to your paintings. But you don't have to. You can just do it in one go like I like to. And then oil paintings. Take a while to dry too if you're using oils. You could also try this out in like acrylic paint or watercolor paint. The paint is obviously going to go on a little bit different, and you wouldn't want to mix your acrylic paints beforehand because they dry really fast. Though I feel like there's a lot more options for acrylic paints now where you can buy kind of like slow drying mediums to like add into your acrylic paints. And I think a lot of people want kind of the quicker drying properties of acrylics with the same kind of like I feel like people are kind of like scared of oil painting a lot of the time because it seems like there's so much advice out there. I think that's what it comes down to. Because when I started oil painting, like I started oil painting almost 2 years ago now, and I just remember being like overwhelmed with how much like information is out there, and there's so much advice that it's really hard to just like get started, but it doesn't have to be so daunting is what I realized if you just like break it down. And that's why I like kept my like things simple. I'm just gonna buy the same brand of paint, I'm gonna buy a little bit of oil medium, and I'm gonna stick with the oil painting paper because it's just easier. You don't have to like learn about like prepping canvases. I mean, I did all of that at the start. I have canvases and I know how to do that. I even learned how to make my own canvases when I first started. I like got really into it when I first started. And then now I try to keep it like more simple, more fun that way if you just kind of keep it simple. And I'm doing it purely because I just enjoy painting for fun. And when you simplify things, it just so much nicer. It makes the process so much more enjoyable when you can kind of simplify things. Don't make your work complicated if it doesn't need to be, right? I'm learning that a lot with stuff in my life too, is like why are we complicating so many different processes? I've definitely read more books lately about essentialism was really good one where it talked about like why are we doing all of the things when we could like kind of hone in and focus on the things that like truly matter, that will get us to where we want to be and to the life that we desire. And definitely been on a self-discovery journey in the last couple of years, just trying to figure that stuff out and healing a lot of past traumas and stuff. And it's really nice to simplify things and not focus so much on all of like what could be or this or that. You just focus on the now and what you can do to kind of like affect your future. Essentialism's a really good book though. Love that book. I think I have a reel on my Instagram, I think maybe even on YouTube here, about my book recommendations. So if you want some creativity / productivity book recommendations, I've got a whole list of them there. I really should make a blog post about my book recommendations too. I love reading, especially kind of that genre of reading too. Okay, this is slowly looking great. The shadow's really coming together. Takes a while to blend out the shadow to my liking. Let me step back. Okay, the shadow looks pretty good. I mean, I could blend it down more, like the shadow kind of does go down a little bit more if we want to like add a little bit more purple into that section. Notice that the shadow kind of like comes down a bit. Probably bring it down in this section too more. This actually doesn't look like the original shadow either. I have like my reference photo. Like I said, I edited this to add the pink background in Photoshop. And they have this like new AI feature where you can be like, I want a pink background. And it kind of like tries to like mimic the old shadow, but like adds like different tones and stuff to it. It's really cool. I'm gonna like actually add a little bit more purpley shadow here. If you can see kind of in the shadow, there's the darker section of the shadow, and then you almost got like an extra like reflection in the shadow, like around the edges. So we're trying to recreate that where there's the two different toned shadow. It's like a little halo effect. I also need to add a bit of a shadow, I think, on this section here at the top. But it's just the purpley kind of hazy shadow, not as much the darker one. I was going to blend out the background more, but I kind of like the painterly style of this. Let me see. I think I need to add a bit more highlights into the cookie section. And we'll just like touch up kind of the darker edges a bit more on the cookie because I think there's just a little too much darkness around there. We'll start with maybe the blue section. Kind of talking about like around here, this darker color is not quite what we want. I also want to blend it out a little bit. Blend this out. I want the cookie to come out a bit more. Okay. It looks so different on the screen, but it still looks cute, right? Okay. What are we thinking so far? Do we like it? Can adjust the cookie color a little bit, but honestly the cookie color is pretty accurate, so I don't want to like touch it too much. I'm gonna adjust the purple kind of at the top too. I think this, yeah, this one had a bit of purple on it, so I'm touching the blue as I said purple. I want to grab this lighter purple again. We're gonna come in around this dark area and lighten it up because it's just way too dark. We'll have to fix up the highlight there again too because I'm kind of playing with it a bit. Clearly I didn't wash this brush very well because the edge is like a little bit frayed on it. I think I might have got some pigment into the ferrule of the brush. The ferrule is like this section, and if you get pigment inside of there, it's really hard to get it out, and it'll create like this. You can kind of see it's like frayed on the edge a little bit there. Damaging my brushes. It happens to the best of us. Can't be perfect with cleaning our brushes all the time. Try not to damage my brushes, but it's just hard sometimes. Looks like there's like a little purple bit in there. So that's like a little bit over here. Just trying to add that looks a bit better. Kind of touched up the edge. It was just like a little too dark on the edge. Really trying to lighten that. I'm going to go back in with the highlight color. I'm going to clean this brush so I can add a little bit more highlight on that top area again. Go in with a little bit of this white and a bit of this bluish highlight, because we don't want the highlight to be too stark white. Kind of reminds me of that. Do you remember watching the Robin Williams movie Flubber? Yes, I remember that movie. Who doesn't love Flubber? Never thought of that, but yeah, if we kind of made this a different color, it would look flubbery. That would be kind of fun and shiny to paint though. Flubber's so cute. Okay, we're gonna add some highlights around the edges here, just to get a few highlights again. Then there's a little bit of highlight here. There's like a reflection at the bottom. And then it looks like there's a bit of highlights on the side section here. He's such a cute little cookie. Maybe this can be pastel flubber then. A highlight. I've already kind of put highlights in this section here, but I'll add a little bit on top. There, a little extra highlights to make it extra shiny. I wish my icing was actually like this shiny. I feel like it wasn't as shiny as I wanted the icing to be. Tried adding the corn syrup to the icing in order to make it a little bit shinier, but I think I added a little too much almond milk into the icing when I was baking. And the almond milk ended up making it less shiny. More corn syrup instead of the almond milk next time. I also bought almond extract the other day and I've misplaced it and I have no clue where my almond extract is. Like, it came into the house after shopping and then it disappeared. It's like the smallest little bottle too, so I don't know. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm just adding a darker area right around the darkest part of the shadow. And I find this just helps to really deepen the depth of a shadow. Because we blended it out, right? So we lost a lot of the dark area. But if you just come into the shadow afterwards and you just add that little bit of darkness, really brings some dimension to the shadow. I added it out on the outside a little too much. Let me take this brush and blend it out again. I feel like that side isn't as dark as I wanted it to be. So we'll add a little bit of darkness. Okay. And then we'll come in on the other side of the shadow too, over here. I'm definitely going to have extra paint for painting another cookie if I wanted to. I have another project that I really want to work on this week. I don't know if I want to paint a cookie again. I just have this really great idea. And I will show you guys at some point. Trying to make it a surprise. But I feel like I have so many ideas for painting and I just never run out of them. And I have so many things I want to paint, just not enough time. It just comes to me. I just love painting so much. I feel like it's one of the reasons I don't take on commissions either, because I just have so many ideas in my own head that I don't have time for commissions. So many things I want to paint. I've only done a few commissions before, and most of them were just for family. Okay, that's looking pretty good, right? I think I'm gonna make this shadow a little bit darker. I'm gonna add purple in it because it just looks cool. Just want that to, like the icing, to stick out a little bit more, if that makes sense. Looking pretty good. I should darken up this area too, around the like little heart. We're getting really close to the end now. There's a slight bit darker section there on the heart, on like the edges. I mean, I think that looks pretty cute, right? Yeah, I like that. There we go. I think I like that. Okay, stop the time-lapse video. I am going to So I guess that is, wow, it does look very different, the colors, but that's fine. On screen, it looks very different. I'm shocked actually how different it looks on the screen versus like the reference photo. It's actually very close to the reference photo in person. I will put for sure a picture up on my Instagram as well. But I mean, if you use similar pigments and you mix kind of the way that I was mixing and just like go with the reference photo, it'll be very close. And then, okay, I have a thank you screen. So this is, I guess, the end of the paint challenge, and I've got like on this side how to join the paint challenge. So if you want to try painting this, you can like watch it back if you weren't painting along with me today, and you can like paint, or you could just paint it in your own style too. And then yeah, just like join here, tag me on Instagram or Facebook at Megan Josol Art, and then use the hashtag mini paint challenge, and then I can show your art some love. Like I'd love some more people to join in and like hang out with me and do this more often. So I'm going to be doing this every week on Wednesday. For my time, it's 10 a.m. PST because I'm in Canada on the West Coast. But I hope you guys can join or at least watch it back, and I hope you enjoyed it today. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so you get like notified when I go live. And I'm most active on Instagram, but I also have a Facebook page too, and I do have a TikTok. I don't use TikTok very much. You'll see by the following I have on there. I don't have much of a following, but I use Instagram and Facebook the most, and then I try to keep my YouTube up to date as well. And we're trying to grow the community on here. So thank you guys for tuning in today, and I guess I will see you next week on Wednesday.